I wanted to start by saying something that celebrates women. All too often, it's a kind of bad news to be one, the lie that we live in that we all have the same freedoms. It's enough just to look at the worldview to know that however far we have come on this issue, there's still a long way to go. So, to celebrate women, first, you gotta find them. They're usually behind the scenes. The marginalized, often despised, strong women of the world making history and babies and poetry happen since time began. You know that expression, he's a self-made man? There is no corresponding phrase for women because all women are self-made women. Any woman who survived her childhood and managed to escape the kitchen is a self-made woman. There is no need to make the distinction. In fact, if a woman isn't making it on her own, she's considered taken care of. It's a strange thing to love being female in the face of such blatant hatred towards us. Now, I say hatred so as not to be confused. I'm not just a little bit upset about a few slanderous remarks from some fat talking heads or the comments from Republican representatives that'll make your stomach clench up and your hands coil into fists. I'm talking about the sheer amount of rapists and murderers and predators that exist in this sick society that we live in. Because patriarchy is a vicious system full of wage gaps and rape victims, and I'm watching as they attack the hard-earned rights of women in this country, and those gains, my friends, are not to be let go of quietly. I, for one, think this should be fought for and protected, but then I guess that makes me the militant feminist, so go ahead. Call me all your names. You know, I don't even flinch at name calling anymore. Doesn't mean I want to debate this shit with every meathead I meet either. Can you believe that some days I just get sick of hearing it all together? You know what else I'm sick of hearing? You throw like a girl. Oh, you throw like a girl. You throw like a girl. Damn it, I am a girl. So why should I aspire to throw any other way? Like, you think it's so great that you got all the upper body strength. Man, I have the strength of connectedness. I'm the earth and its consciousness. And yes, I throw like a girl. I'm better at a lot of things. And I think that the point is that equality isn't about treating everyone the same because we're all the same, okay? It's about treating everyone with respect because we're all different, that there are strengths and weaknesses in each of us and that we may learn from each other's experiences. Because me, man, I'm all about the win-win, okay? I'm all about the putting time into the collective because together we are greater than. And men, if you can't see that women's issues are of your concern too, then I'm afraid we're all screwed. It should bother you when Republicans try to throw us under the bus. It should bother you that they want us all barefoot and pregnant. And ladies and gentlemen, if you think you've had enough yet, it's time to tell them. This isn't about contraception. This is about adequate health care and education in the first place. This is about getting paid 80 cents on the dollar still and being told to cough it up for daycare. I mean, they got us coming and going, don't they? They got us squabbling about it on election day, and I'm telling you, don't be fooled. They will divide us in any way that they can because when we come together, we are greater than. And women. The calamities of the world are women's issues. This 10-year war on terror is affecting women too. The holes in the ozone layer and the prison systems and the lunches that they're feeding to the kids in the schools is our issue. And frankly, we've got a lot of work to do to find peace, and I mean for everyone, to protect and replace the social safety net that we put there, and for a good reason, to stamp out greed and hatred and corruption and learn to see every injustice as the problem and learn how to put our 2 cents in to help solve them because the future is brand new. So what are the women and men of conscience going to do? Because when it comes down to it, it's going to be up to me and you. Okay. So, civil disobedience. My first arrest in front of Senator Coleman's office in April of 2007. When they came, they gave us peace signs. The honkers and the smiling, waving parade types. I returned the smiles because I knew what we were up to and I knew it was gonna, change some minds. We brought some of our own signs, and thinking about it now, I wish mine said, "This traffic jam brought to you by the war in America." And then we took the street, stepping out in front of SUVs with barricades and cones to wait for the police and watching as they're realizing that we won't move unless someone makes us. They got a little anxious about the possibility that this was happening. Sitting there in cars, crunched to a halt, their daily commute intruded upon by an occupation of war, and on their cell phones, I saw the conversations begin, traveling up by satellite, an idea like a wake-up call. Their expressions, disbelief, and dispositions to reject me as a nuisance in their otherwise unchallenged lives of misinformation and outright lies. They paid attention, all right. But some paid with their lives, and I do not apologize for bringing that to light in the street the day we made a parking lot audience of the passers-by. But go ahead, call that a crime. So this one's called On Military Drones and Tearing Them to Pieces. It's the arms race of the future, really, except this time Sputnik's gonna be an unmanned plane. And if the vessel is unmanned, doesn't that make the killing automatically inhumane? It's odd to me to think that when I'm voting with my dollar, I demand a better treatment of the chicken for my dinner than our military seems to see fit for the people on the ground in places like Iraq and Yemen, Afghanistan, or Pakistan. You know, those unreliable statistics, because really, who sees? The trouble with machines is that there's a lack of accountability. I want our government to have to make little stickers for all their little planes that say no dolphins or civilians were harmed in the making of this democracy. How about that? How about a harm-free approach to foreign policy? Can you install that, Uncle Sam, at the point of your gun? Of course not. It's an oxymoron. American, the humanitarian, on a mission and it's called an invasion. Look up at the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, because it sure ain't Superman. It's a US military drone and it's loaded, so go ahead and run, because it sees you too, but not with eyes, with orders. I mean, because anyway, that's what collateral damage is code for, dead people, lots of them children. Unarmed civilians is a way of saying that they had nothing to do with this conflict, but then neither do we, on this end. The taxed yet unrepresented majority of people in this country who do not like the war and do not support another one, but what can we do? We don't feel the trigger under our finger because we're fed a constant stream of lies, and all our lives we're told that it's do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, and yet every time the news breaks that a woman is raped, that a village was slaughtered, we are ready to make those sacrifices for what we call the safety of our country, and it is utter nonsense, okay? Violence begets violence. This is a fundamental truth. We are the purveyors of death and atrocity in these parts of the world, and then you wonder why they hate us? So you tell me, who is the real terrorist, the rebel with the gun or the smiling politician? Whatever gets the job done. And these days, the job is as easily done as the push of a button by some pimple-faced kid in a bunker in Nevada somewhere. Did you know that the controls for these drones are compatible with PlayStation? This is not a coincidence. They are spoon-feeding this to your kids, so I suggest you get acquainted, because drones are the future of warfare that already is. And I heard that Obama just okayed the use of drones over all U.S. airspace within the next year. So be prepared to see them around, equipped with cameras instead of bombs, so that should make us all feel safer. You know, they say that they are looking for the terrorists among us and looking at everyone, you know, just in case. Even though the only cases it seems that our government team can solve these days are the ones they cooked up in the first place. But hey, they gotta spend that budget some way, don't they? And did you know that it takes a whopping, jaw-dropping 300 people to fully operate one of these planes for just one day? One of these $28 million planes? Oh yes, sirree, it's a booming industry. You remember that bumper sticker about how great it'd be if schools had all the funding that they needed and the Army had to hold a bake sale? People, this is what your government is busy buying. This is where your tax dollars go. So when they tell you they gotta cut some spending, you just tell them, land some drones, man. Just land the drones. And call me a sentimental hippie like that, but I believe in the power of the people to fight back, because we can't just let this technology run wild or go rogue or come crashing home on us, man. We must realize and regulate. We gotta study up and educate people before this whole thing gets out of control, with evidence to suggest that we are already at the threshold. So why don't you let your president, let your Congress members know what you think about these wars and what you think about these drones. Tell them, we don't need any more killing machines, all right? We got better ways to spend that money back home. Why don't you leave those kids in Pakistan alone? It's time to end the wars and land the drones.